Hello and welcome to High Wycombe. This is my model of the station set in around the early 50s, and as you can see from the opening shots, it is far from complete. I've been at this now for about 15 years. With the help of the friends from the Missenden Model Railway Club, I'm going to show you some of the detail and some of the trains that we've now got running. High Wycombe is a large market town in Buckinghamshire, about 40 miles northwest of London. The town is famous for its chair-making industry, and big names such as Urquhart and G-Plan still exist in the town, although many of the smaller one-man concerns have now gone. The station itself sits on the Great Western Great Central joint main line. The Great Western was the first to arrive in the town, with a line from Maidenhead through Bourne End. Later this was extended in the 1860s through to Aylesbury, and then in 1906 the Great Western and the Great Central got together and produced this fine quadruple track main line through the town. The Great Western comes up from Paddington, through Wycombe, and then on through Banbury to Birmingham. The Great Central originates in Marylebone, comes through Wycombe, departs at Ashington Junction, and then goes up through Quainton Road, Rugby, Leicester, and eventually to Sheffield and Manchester. The effect of this, even in British Railways days, was for a great variety of traffic, both western and eastern region based. And this layout is attempting to represent that huge variety in some form. The model is built to EM gauge standards, so therefore all the track is hand built. One of the early challenges was the Great Retaining Wall. How to build that, because it has no relieving features, so brick papers were going to be very difficult to use. In the end, I asked York Model Making to laser cut it for me, and as I had no CAD skills, they did that as well. So it proved relatively expensive. After that, I taught myself CAD, and all the subsequent buildings I've designed and drawn myself. And the club now has its own laser cutter, so getting stuff cut is very easy. One of the things I enjoy most is the detail work. So as you can see in these pictures, a lot of effort has gone into producing little cameos and realistic scenes, from telephone kiosks to the water tank to passengers on the station platform. These are all Model U 3D printed products. The water tank took some building, and that is composed mainly of some etches that were commissioned for a version at Pendon. And at the same time I built this one for High Wycombe. It did feature in MRJ, and an article can be seen there. The long station canopy over platforms 1 and 2 was also quite a big challenge. You'll see from some of the long shots that it's on a gentle S-curve, and it's taken me 2 attempts to get that right. It's all constructed from brass angle soldered together on jigs. The bases of the pillars are 3D printed, and it is fully lit with 26 working LEDs. The corrugated iron roof is an Ambis product of corrugated foil, which when painted up looks fine. The train we're seeing now is an uploaded mineral. This would have come down the Great Central from the Nottinghamshire coalfields, and there were several of these trains every day heading into London. This one is loaded to 30 wagons, and they ran roughly in the ratio of 6 loaded wagons up to 8 empty wagons down. The composition of the wagons is as typical as I can get it, roughly 50% being old private owner wooden wagons, some in fairly tatty state, some older steel minerals from the original companies like the LMS, and of course some brand new BR steel minerals as well. The loco is a K3 ex-LNER engine. It is intended eventually that an austerity will be powering this train. The down train will consist of 40 wagons. This is currently in build, but there's quite a lot of work to get that done before putting it on the layout. So what we're seeing now is one of the Eastern Region up expresses headed by A3 Pacific 60104 Solario. There are about 9 Pacifics allocated to the Great Central section, some at Leicester and some at Neasden, and this was one of them in my period. The stock behind consists at the moment of BR Mark I stock and some Thompson stock. Yet to be added is a restaurant car. So here we have a fully fitted freight coming through heading north under sea headlights with 6803 Bucklebury Grange at its head. This is a Hornby conversion, and the train, as you can see, consists mainly of vans but also some containers and open wagons, one of which is sheeted. So next up we have a lengthy pickup goods heading south, this time behind Collick Goods 2256. This is a Finney kit, and in fact is the first etch kit I ever built. The wagon mix is quite varied. We've got some simple opens and vans, mostly unfitted, a tar wagon, a very ancient Mink F, still in very scruffy Great Western livery, and a Crocodile H, by now codenamed the Weltroll, contain an anchor cast in Birmingham and presumably on its way to somewhere like Brentford for a ship that's waiting. The outer suburban services were in the hands of Coronation A5 tanks running out of Marylebone, as seen here. Later on, L1 264 tanks were employed, and this will be modelled using the Hornby products. It should be a 6-coach set comprising a first-third twin, an all-third, a break-third as seen here, and a Lav Compo break-third twin also modelled here. The other 3 coaches will be modelled in due course. The loco is a 52F model's etch brass kit and is fully fitted with sound. Most services terminated at Wycombe, but this one is heading through to Risborough and possibly on to Aylesbury. 042 tank 1474 leaves the bay with an auto coach heading down the Maidenhead branch. The branch came up through Bourne End and closed as late as 1970. The coach is a Bartman product and represents Wren, which was a regular performer in the Chiltern district. Here we see the ex-Great Western Parcels Railcar number 34. This is a Lima model. It's been remotored and reglazed using the Extreme Etchings products, plus some handmade ones for the side doors. It's in typically grubby condition, as evidenced by many of the photos of this period. It ran into the bay about once a day up here at Wycombe. The yard pilot at High Wycombe was an engine based in Slough, and each morning it would come up early, and late in the evening it would depart engine in van, as we see here. And this is the last shot we see of this sequence. In making this layout, I am indebted to help from friends of the Risborough District Model Railway Club. Practical help from James Aitken, Mick Moyniard, Phil Baxendale, John Casson and John Hitwell has been invaluable. And further help from David Lane and Russ Burridge, who've been very good at giving me information, finding resources and photos, and generally pointing me in the direction of research.